Hello today, everybody. So, fun stuff today. We're going to be talking spinning, and I'm going to show you some of the things that come with a Kromsky Sonata and some accessories you can buy to go with it, because that's what I happen to have, so that's what I'm going to show you. I do also have an Ashford Traveler. I don't tend to use it as much. I really like the sealed ball bearing on my Kromsky Sonata, and I absolutely adore the magnetic flyer head. I am so glad that I bought it in November, I think November. That was like part of my birthday gift to myself, was the magnetic flyer head. Absolutely worth it, like 100% worth it. I cannot sing the praises of it enough. I love it so much. It's cheaper than getting a woolly winder. I know a lot of people just absolutely love their woolly winders and they're very dedicated to those, and that's great. Totally wonderful. I'm so glad if you have a woolly winder. Marshmallow, you leave that alone. He's in my yarn again. That cat, I tell you. Cats and yarn, right? Anyway, love my magnetic flyer head. It's just not as expensive as getting the woolly winder. You know, my regular bobbins already fit it. I don't have to buy more bobbins to go with it. I did consider the woolly winder. I think it's a great product. If that's where you want to go with your wheel, more power to you. But for me, this magnetic flyer head made my spinning much easier for me, and it made me happy, and it wasn't as expensive of a prospect as purchasing a woolly winder and the bobbins. So that's why I went ahead and I just bought some extra bobbins, right? And the magnetic flyer head. So anyway, that's what we're talking about today. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks for beginning spinning. I'm going to talk about like the parts and pieces on the wheel. And then next week, don't forget that we're doing a whole series on Monday that's all about sweaters and gauge and the importance of fit for your body. And then Wednesday, hopefully, my new Kromsky Harp Forte 32-inch rigid heddle loom will be here. And I will have either unboxed it so that we can just put it together and play with it. Hi, Angela, it's nice to see you again. Or we will unbox it next Wednesday, one of the two. I know it's shipped, so I'm really hoping that it gets here and we can play with it, because I'm kind of excited. Yeah. And I absolutely went and borrowed 3 books. I have a 4th one on the way from my local library, because they had rigid heddle weaving textbooks, right? You know, I mean, I think of them as textbooks. So I borrowed those, and I have to go pick them up because they're all on hold. Curbside pickup, lots of fun, right? And yeah, so that's kind of the plan. I'm going to borrow the books, and then when I find the books that I like, I will probably purchase them, because that's just kind of how Kelly rolls. Clearly, I got some books behind me. So yeah, that's the plan for next week. We're going to talk sweater gauge and put the rigid heddle loom together and have fun with that. And Wednesdays going forward, at least for a couple of weeks, are probably going to be Learn Along with Kelly. And we'll be doing rigid heddle loom something or others on Wednesdays, as I kind of relearn how to weave and sort of apply that to a rigid heddle loom, because I started on a floor loom. So, but I haven't like done any weaving since college. That's actually where I learned how to weave. I learned how to weave in 2 different classes at college. I know. It was like the best, what's the word I want? It was one of the best courses that I took, one of the best random courses that I took that like really fulfilled one of my creative urges. And I had a fabulous teacher. I learned at Purdue. Super, super nice woman. Really knowledgeable, a lot of fun. In fact, I should really call her up and talk to her again. See how she's doing. She designed these absolutely amazing computer-generated weavings. They were really awesome. Anyway, let's move beyond that. So today we're going to focus on the spinning wheel, and then when we're done with that, I'll chit-chat a little bit more about what to expect from Tina and the Bernie Mittens kits and all kinds of fun stuff with that. So let's talk about beginning spinning. I have a Kromsky Sonata. So let's see if I can turn this. I'll angle it down a little bit so you can at least see my wheel. And there she is. There's my Kromsky Sonata. So, along with all the hand spun yarn behind her and all of my other things. So this right here, this is the Kromsky Sonata. Beautiful wheel. Somewhat modern looking, not quite as modern as the Fantasia. It is a travel wheel. It does break down. So there is there's a screw back here. This pops out and then the whole wheel folds down. And that screw then, and that knob gets used here. There's a hole in your wheel and there's a hole here on the base so that when it folds down you can screw that together so that it doesn't move while you're traveling with it. So this is meant to be a travel wheel. When I first bought my wheel it did not come with the bag, but now your Kromsky Sonatas do come with a bag. Really nice. The wheel fits in and it tucks in nice and tight. When you buy a Kromsky Sonata, it comes with the standard flyer head. This is the standard flyer head. And I am missing the brake band piece, which is sitting somewhere over here. I actually broke this one. She knocked my wheel over one day and broke it, so I glued it back together with carpenter's glue, and then I just haven't been brave enough to try it and see if it's going to hold up or not. I guess we'll find out, so that's okay. Anyway, so this is the original flyer head, the standard ratios that come with it. So each of the different wheels here, when your, or excuse me, each of the different flyers here, when your brake band, excuse me, drive band, boy, I can't talk today, can I? When your drive band is stretched up over them, will create different speeds. So usually the fatter the flyer, the slower the speed, the smaller the flyer, the faster the speed. So this is the original. This is what first came with my wheel, what I learned on. And I do like it Scotch tension, so that's how I keep it. I don't even remember if this can be set up for double drive because I like Scotch tension so much, that's all I ever use. And I'll show you what that is in just a minute as well. But this is the original flyer head. I bought the magnetic flyer head because it has some advantages. When you use the original flyer head, it actually sits in the wheel. These are interchangeable, by the way. It sits in the wheel like this. So this is the orifice where your yarn comes in. And this is just further away from you when you're spinning. So for me, I really like having that magnetic flyer head because this is the orientation for the magnetic flyer head and the orifice is here. It's much closer to you as you're spinning. This then sits flat against a wall, whereas when you have the original flyer head in, it does not do that. So that's, an improvement for me. Something else that I like about it is with the original flyer head, we're going to keep switching back and forth for a minute. With the original flyer head, oops, helps if you actually put it in correctly. Sorry, there we go. I'm so used to my magnetic now. When I needed to change a bobbin, I had to pop this piece back here. And your drive band goes up over this piece as well. But you have to pop this whole piece off and then snap it back down in, and then that's your original flyer head. There's nothing wrong with this. It absolutely works. I used it for years. But with the magnetic flyer head, instead of having it further away from you, again, you can just pop the flyer itself off. So you grasp, I've shown this before, but you just grasp your shaft and pop it off. And there's a really, really strong magnet in here that keeps these two pieces connected while you're spinning. But that's how easy it is to swap your bobbin. It's also much closer to you. Again, you're not behind your wheel. You're not working back here trying to swap your bobbins out. So there's just a lot of advantages to it for me. Anyway, but I'll take this off and I'll show you the original head, since this is what would come with your Kromsky Sonata. So let me bring the drive band to the front. It'll be easier to do this. Okay, so when your Kromsky Sonata first comes, there's a little booklet that tells you how to put it together. It's not hard. You basically just unscrew that knob and it sets right up, and then you put your drive band on, and I've replaced my drive band a couple of times. Well, of course, can't get this on camera. That would be much too easy. It's not hard to replace your drive band. You can, of course, use a cotton string. I just happen to like these polypropylene drive bands quite a bit. But that's how easy it is to add your drive band. I just looped it around under the bottom of the wheel and then brought it up over the top, on top of that flyer. And then you're almost set up to go. So you can adjust the height of your flyer head. One of the things that a lot of new spinners don't realize is that you don't need a ton of tension on this drive band. You need just enough tension that it will turn your flyer, and this very clearly turns my flyer, no problems. So you don't actually want your flyer to be really, really tall. You don't want this to be really tight. This just puts extra tension on your drive band and it wears it out faster. So that's just a little tip there, is that you want it just with enough tension to where it grabs your flyer and turns it easily, and that does. So that's one of the first things that you need to know. You also need to oil your wheel. All of your wheels do come with this lovely little bottle of oil. Clearly I have used quite a bit of mine. I've actually refilled this a couple of times as well. And I do love this very skinny needle-like tip. It's probably hard to see there. Very skinny needle-like tip. Because it very easily gets in and oils what you need it to oil. So I always put a little drop here kind of behind where the brass fitting is for my treadle, or just in front of it, and then I slide this forward, and I do both of those. Sometimes I put a little drop of oil in there's two little holes right here. I'll put a little drop of oil in there. And then with the original flyer head, you need to oil this little guy right here. It's just a little felt pad, which helps to keep your orifice hydrated, so that you don't have friction and we don't have any burning. Hi, Cheryl! And so it's important to put your oil here. And then you also oil, there's a little leather patch right here on the flyer head, so you oil this. And then I always put a drop of oil on the actual flyer itself, because I like to make sure that my bobbin doesn't have any friction. So lots of places to oil, which means there's also lots of places to clean. That's another thing. When you're putting oil on, you have to take oil off. So I have these super cute little dust bunny cloths that a friend bought for me. So I actually use these when I'm going in and cleaning and taking all the oil off. And I can just, toss it in my wash. But just like that, just kind of get in and do the best you can. And you can always kind of take your cloth under and bring it up and bring it down and really get in there and get it nice and clean. Might as well clean it up while we're doing it. See, old oil coming off. So anyway, you clean the shaft and anywhere that you've oiled, I just go ahead and kind of clean it all up again. And up in here, sometimes I end up having to take like a little cotton ball or cotton swab and try to clean this out, because sometimes that gets a little bit gunky and it's just hard to clean it. Anyway, so that's the original. Taking your bobbin on and off then, back here. So I always load my bobbin with the small end of the bobbin towards the wheel, the large end of the bobbin away from the wheel. I cannot think of what that is called right now, which is really bad, really, really bad. And then your brake band goes over the fat end of that bobbin, and then this is your brake band peg, and I'm hoping that this will slide in. Good, good. Again, this is the one that Ina so very kindly broke accidentally, so anyway. And then this just gets wound up, and there's a little hole here. And you don't want your brake band to be really tight. I always like it to where it's just barely putting any tension on my bobbin, because I want to control how much of my yarn is going in on that bobbin. So for me, it's just, I don't stretch it very much, because I want just enough tension that you can see it just starts to grab on that spring, but you do not want your spring to be stretched all the way out. That's not a good thing. So this is the basics this is how you would set up the original flyer head and bobbin on your Kromsky Sonata. You would go ahead and oil everything, and then you're ready to start spinning. This is a leader. This is just a piece of cotton yarn that I've added to my bobbins. You know, I try to make them all about the same length. They're all the same color. I put a loop in one end. I like to use cotton instead of wool because I want to be able to release my yarn from this loop when I am done spinning. And we use the leader as we're getting started so that it helps to wind your yarn on. You'll run it through all of your hooks here. I always like to start my yarn at the back of my bobbin. Some people start it at the front. It's totally up to you where you start it. I always say just pick an end. Just pick an end. I like to see it as it gets started. I like to make sure that it's winding on, so that's a personal thing. You'll take your orifice hook. This also comes with your wheel. On the original flyer head, you can stow it here. Got a little thing I need to tighten. There is a knob to tighten this maiden down here too. It's just basically a hook with a pretty turned handle. You can make these yourself if you're really crafty and you have some wire lying around, which I have done in the past. So this is your orifice hook, and you're just going to use this to go up through the orifice, through that hole in the flyer, and you're going to use it to grab the leader and pull it through. And then you just stow it back in here. The disadvantage to the magnetic flyer head is that it does not have the orifice hook and it doesn't have a spot to stow the orifice hook. So I am going to say, you know, minus like 1/4 of a point because I have to keep my orifice hook somewhere else. But the other part of that is that a lot of times I don't even need the orifice hook to get my leader started. And I know this is going to be really awkward, but see if I can get it done. Oh yeah. Because a lot of times I can just feed that leader right through the orifice without having to have the orifice hook on it. So, you know, tiny ding for not having the orifice hook or the holder for it, but then it kind of gets points back because a lot of times I don't have to use the orifice hook to put my leader through. So, you know, advantages and disadvantages, right? All right. So now that we have our leader on our bobbin, we have our bobbin on our wheel. We should oil. I haven't oiled this wheel, this flyer head for a while. And yes, I do have my little cloth here just in case. I mean, it hasn't been that long, it's just been a few months. Just like that. Does not take a lot of oil, you just want to oil a little bit. And you do want to oil every like 30 minutes to an hour's worth of spinning, and you always want to oil whenever you like start spinning again if it's been a while. And sometimes, especially this little felt pad will take a lot of oil as you get started spinning again. So here we are, we've got everything set up. You know, the treadles already come connected, you don't need to do anything to adjust those. And you're just kind of ready to go. This is not a hard wheel to set up. There's not a ton of pieces to put together. It's really very nice. So this is the lovely PCC. It's Romney Dorset Rambouillet and Jacob Churro mixed fleece. So it's the Romney Dorset Rambouillet fleece is the natural color, the white color, and that's mixed with Jacob Churro, which is a colored fleece. And it gives this lovely, almost an oatmeal-y color. It's a super nice fleece to learn on because it has pretty good staple. It's springy. It's not incredibly soft. It's not super sticky. Like it's soft enough that you get kind of an idea of what's going on, but it's not difficult to use. We have a ton of this stuff available, so if you are getting into spinning, if you're curious about spinning, or if you need some stuff to needle felt, this stuff is awesome. Like, it works really well. So, oh yeah, you gotta save your pennies to get one. Well, Cheryl, you know, we do layaways, so you can always do a payment plan towards a wheel. And if you are looking at the Kromskys at all, this wheel is going up in price, like significantly going up in price as of February 1. it's a pretty big price jump because they haven't done any price increases for 2 years. So if you are wanting a Kromsky Sonata, even if you are saving your pennies, or any of the Kromsky wheels, anything from Kromsky, even if you can't pay for it right now, if you want to start a payment plan with us, we will do that for you and take care of you so that you can get in on the pre-February 1st pricing. I have to put it in by January 31st, so you have to kind of jump on it. I tried to let everybody know as soon as possible that there was going to be a price increase so that they could, you know, get in there and get one if they wanted it. Because, yeah, it's not an insignificant price increase. At least I don't think it is. I mean, it makes sense to me. They have to pay for shipping, and I know the inflation and things have changed, but, you know, if I can help you save a little bit, I'm going to help you save a little bit. And we are also including 8 ounces of this with any new wheel purchase. You know, we're going to throw in 8 ounces of fiber to get you started, just so you can try it. Just so you can try it. And you're in Canada. Cheryl, you being in Canada, that is such a problem because it's so much harder to get you these wheels. But I'm pretty sure we could figure it out. So if you wanted, we could try to work something out with you, Cheryl. I'm not kidding. Like we are dedicated to trying to help people get their wheels and whatever. So anyway, back to what I was saying. This is the lovely PCC. We have this for sale on our website. It's awesome. It's wonderful stuff. I really like this for beginning spinners because it's really easy to spin. Basically, when you're getting started, if you haven't spun at all before, it's really helpful to draft your roving. That just means you pull it apart a little bit so that it doesn't stick together. This stuff doesn't really stick together. Some fibers do stick together more than others. And then you'll just take a little dab and you're going to put it in your leader and you're going to kind of hold it. I just looped it through. I'm just going to hold it together and kind of pinch it to get it started. And I like a little finer yarn than what I'm getting here. Oops, there we go. And then we have to add in some twist. Now, remember that where this drive band is on our flyer is going to determine our ratio. On the magnetic flyer head, you actually have different flyer discs that come with it. Call these whorls, right? Oh, that's what they're called, whorls. So different whorls. This happens to be a pretty slow one because it's very fat. Remember, the fatter the whorl, the slower the ratio. So the fatter the yarn. Fat whorl, fat yarn. That's the key here. Fat whorl, fat yarn. These guys just slide on. They're super cool. I can show you how to change these out. So I'm going to use the fatter one to get started because we want to go a little bit slower. What it means is each time that we treadle, this flyer itself turns fewer rotations because it has a wider circumference or a wider diameter, I should say, on this circle to go. So a lot of times when you're just getting started, you'll want to go ahead and turn your wheel with your hand a little bit to get started. And then you start pedaling back and forth. And you want to allow a little bit of twist to build up and introduce. You want to go slowly. It really helps if you put on slow music because your body will naturally just kind of, oops, I went too slow. Get used to the rhythm of it and you will treadle slower. Don't listen to super fast punk rocky music unless you can manage to not make your feet treadle at the same pace as the music. All right. So, put this back in. I'm just going just a little too slow. There we go. Your feet can always pedal faster than what your hands can balance. I did it again. Okay, I do not have enough grab. So this one more time. You can see it's really easy to put it back in. If you break your fiber too, it's also really easy to attach. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. All right, there we go. So I'm going to do this a little bit longer. You always want to go in the same direction when you are spinning because that puts the twist in. It doesn't take the twist out, so that's an important thing. I always like to go clockwise for my singles, which is what this is. And then I like to go counterclockwise for my plying. And if I just always do that, then I always know which way I have been spinning. So it makes it a lot easier. I just always spin my first single, so the unplied yarn. Oops. I always spin the first single clockwise, and then I go counterclockwise for my plying. So, and I can see I definitely don't have enough twist on this. I gotta pedal faster. Anyway, part of that's just knowing your fiber, knowing your wheel, and then getting used to it. And a lot of times I have to treadle this slow because I use the really fast Whorls. And so, and I spin really, really fine stuff because that's just kind of what I've trained myself to do. A lot of times when you start off, you have chunky, lumpy, bumpy stuff, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's see, what else can I tell you? So if your yarn breaks, like mine just did, and you need to reattach your yarn, it's not a big deal. It's not a super big deal. I'm gonna unwind the dab from the bobbin. Oh, I definitely don't have enough twist in this. There we go. You just unwind a little dab. You put your orifice hook. Helps if you can see your orifice hook. There we go. Back up through. You grab the fiber. I always untwist a little bit, and because we need a little more twist anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and add some twist to this. And then all you do to reattach, you make sure that you don't have a really tight spot here and here. You lay the two together and you just start spinning, and it'll just like magically start coming back together. It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. I'm spinning too fine for this Whorl. That's part of the problem. I need to pull more through at the same time. So, yeah. It's really hard for me to not default to super fine yarn because that's just kind of how I spin most of the time. But this is really, really good stuff to learn with, this PCC. It's the Portland Community College. It helps us to keep supporting their vet tech program because we buy their fleeces so they don't go to the landfill. And it's, I mean, it's a very nice fleece. It's springy, it's bouncy, it's fun to work with. It's okay if you've got some lumpy bumpies. Not a big deal. And again, if your fiber breaks, you just lay them back together. Let some of that active twist come in, and off you go, and you're off and spinning once more. So not a big deal. I always like to park my yarn by kind of wrapping it around my drive band peg. That's a personal thing. You could wrap it around the orifice hook if you wanted to. Not a big deal. And if for some reason this gets all drawn in, just do that real fast. This gets all drawn in. Oh no, I lost it. Well, whatever, it's not a big deal. You just pull it back out, run it along those hooks, use your orifice hook and pop it back through. It's not a big deal. So anyway, oh, drop spindling, there's absolutely nothing wrong with drop spindling. Maybe in a couple weeks I will do a drop spindle like little video too, and because that's how I started. I started off with drop spindling, and I'm still perfectly comfortable with it. I don't have any issues. I just like my wheels, so that's what I have. But drop spindling is absolutely a valid way to spin. All right, so now let's say you love your Sonata, thought it was fun. Hopefully one of my beginning tips really helped you. When you are done spinning, always drop your flyer head down and take your drive band to the lowest Whorl that you have on your flyer head, because you want to save your drive band. If you have this polypropylene drive band especially, they do wear out eventually. So this will help keep them happier for several years to come. But let's say you have upgraded, because I think of it as an upgrade. And now you are going to use your magnetic flyer head. So I'm just going to lay this in here. This happens to be the little protector that comes in your Kromsky Sonata bag. I'm just using it as storage for my older flyer head, the standard flyer head. And I am going to take the bobbin off because I need to use it in the other one. I only have so many bobbins, so I definitely don't ever store a bobbin on my flyer head. So there's my little flyer head, and it just goes in its little protective bag. And I am going to store that drive band peg in here now that it's prepared. Just lock this down, and then I just put this back in my bag. It hangs out. Doolute hangs out. I don't really use this bag for anything except storage right now because I'm not going anywhere, and I keep my wheel out right now. It does help if you don't store your Sonata in the travel bag. If you have stored your Sonata in a travel bag for a significant amount of time, like I did, you are probably going to find that your treadle connectors are very stiff, like mine were, and that your drive band is very stiff, like mine was, and you're going to have a very hard time with your wheels. So if you've stored it for a significant amount of time, replace that stuff. It's inexpensive. It's going to make it much better for you in the long run. Ask me how I know that, because I struggled with it. So that's my little PSA there. Okay, fun stuff. Let me move this magnetic, or move my wheel over, and we'll focus in on the, let's see if I can get this down, on the magnetic flyer head, and I'll show you some of the fun stuff, because, you know, it is fun stuff. Let's see. That's pretty good. See everything? I think you can see everything. So, with the magnetic flyer, you do get a little guide, of course, so that's really nice. And we have different whorls that come with it. So I'm going to show you how to change the whorl. I did buy the blue loops. It comes with brown. It does come with enough cord to do, the double drive band if you'd rather do that as opposed to Scotch tension. I just really like Scotch tension personally, so that's what I use. And then it also comes with these fabulous little Allen keys, which I have kept in my baggie because when you, knocked everything. When you go to change the whorl on your flyer head, hang on, I just gotta pop that off. There we go. When you go to change the whorl on your flyer head, let me just undo this too, so that it's kind of down and out of the way. There, whatever. There is a small little screw. Let's see if I can hold this one to where you can see. There, the little screw on that side that you use the Allen wrench on. See the little screw? So this little goober right here is what you loosen. Don't drop. I've dropped it several times. And then you can just slide the whorl off. Is this not the coolest thing? I love things like this. I'm such a nerd. And there is a slot where this little piece right here needs to fit. So, and a lot of times I will go ahead and let's just clean this. And we'll put some new oil on because that will help to slide. Just a little dab. Keep that open in case I need more. Help to slide this whorl. Oh yeah, you're going to be a problem. Do this. Find a little oil. See, it's so much easier. Little dab of oil goes a long way. And then you just have to line up that slot with a little peg. And then you push this down, so now it's all the way down. And then you take your little Allen key and you tighten that little screw down until it's tight. And that was it. And now, oh, you couldn't even see that, could you? Here, do it again. There's the little screw. So you just take your little Allen key, and you undo it right there. Right there it is. And then you just tighten that little guy down, just like this. So cool. Love this thing. Anyway, and then you're all ready to go again. So that's not how you're supposed to put the drive band on, but it worked. So now I can go ahead and throw my bobbin on here. I can put my flyer back on, and I can put this back on my wheel, and there you go. I mean, that's just how easy it is. And I did buy, this is the extra fast Whorl for the magnetic head. I think that it comes with this one and this one. And then you can buy, there's two other Whorls. There's like an even fatter, bigger, slower Whorl, and then there's this little guy, and this is the one that I really wanted. This is the one I use almost all the time. This is like a 20 or a 21, like a 20 and a 21 or a 20 and a 22 ratio, something like that. Yeah, Whorl, and I love it, and I use this one all the time, and it helps me to spin stuff like this. There, happiness. Yay, happiness. All right, well, I hope that helps somebody, and I've taught you a little something about spinning wheels, and you've enjoyed my little demonstration here. And I'm actually going to take this apart because I do want my extra fast Whorl back on here. So I'll show you how to do that one more time. We'll take this one off, loosen that with the Allen key, and then this, I think this has enough oil on it, yeah. Slide this down, and you make sure that it's lined up with that little peg right there. Push it all the way down. You're going to take your little Allen key, and there's the little screw on the side. I know it's very difficult to see that, but there's a little screw on the side. And just tighten that down, and ta-da! All changed. All exchanged. Anyway, yeah, so love this thing. And as long as I'm at it before I finish, I'm just going to slap my bobbin on here so it's ready to go. And then you just sort of hold that Whorl back here and very gently turn this until you hear the click. And now it's completely reassembled and it's ready to go. And then it just slides into the hole. Have I mentioned how much I love this machine right now? I love this machine. So, anyway, is there anything that you would like to know about beginning spinning that I didn't cover? I know this was all very Kromsky Sonata oriented, and you know, there are some little gems in there, like make sure that you always take your drive band off of your wheel when you go to store it. And let's see, another thing, if you can't tell, it's snowed out there. It's very white outside my window. The difference on the tensions. Oh, so the different, are you asking about the different Whorls, like the different ratios? Or are you asking about tensioning as in terms of the drive band itself, Cheryl? Because there's two different things. The Whorls, the fatter the Whorl, the fatter the yarn, because this has fewer revolutions per turn of the wheel than like this guy does. So that's why you use fatter Whorls to make thicker yarn. You use skinnier Whorls to make skinnier yarn. The Scotch tension. Oh, so the difference between Scotch tension and double drive tension is in the actual like tensioning mechanism. So with a double drive, you have an extra long drive band which you loop and twist, so that as it's running, it tensions the bobbin with the drive band itself. Whereas with Scotch tension, it's two separate pieces. So you tension the drive band separately from the Scotch tension. So with a double drive, it's all one, and you have to kind of get it in the sweet spot for both at the same time. And with Scotch tension, you can adjust your drive band first and get that where you want it, and then adjust your Scotch tension. So it's neither one is necessarily better than the other. They have different applications. So sometimes like double drive tension is a little bit better than Scotch tension for certain things. I'm not an advanced enough spinner to tell you exactly what that is. I just know they have slightly different applications. But I can tell you that most people tend to use Scotch tension. That's what most wheels come with. A lot of them can be converted to double drive. Some of them only come in double drive, so you do have to read the fine print there. And the Scotch tension itself, let me get my drive band back on. This is always the fun part because doesn't like to sit under the wheel. And then, hang on, I got it on the wrong side. Every time I switch from my old flyer to my new magnetic flyer, I have to remember to put the drive band on the opposite side when I go to load it. And a lot of times I don't drop it fully off, I just drop my flyer head down, so that, of course, this is just going to be problematic because I'm alive. Of course it would be problematic. Okay, you little monkey, get on here. Sometimes it helps to go from the top down and then pull it across the bottom. There we go. Man, that did not want to go on. All right, let me turn this down. I'm sure that was a really flattering view of my head there, too. So here is my wheel. And this right here, where'd it go? There it is. This right here is the Scotch tension. So all that means is I have two separate pieces for tensioning. My drive band tensions off the flyer head separately from the Scotch tension, which tensions my bobbin. That's all that is. It is a little easier to make adjustments on the fly to this Scotch tension than it is to make adjustments on the fly to the double drive tension. It's not impossible, it's just slightly easier. There, hopefully that's a little better angle. So there it is. That's all it is. It just means that there's a little spring here, and there's a little brake band peg. This is your brake band. So that is what makes it Scotch tension right there, is that there's a brake band, a little spring, and a little peg to hold it all. And then with the double drive, instead, you would actually have a loop off of your drive band that would come up over the end of your bobbin. So it goes around twice, and you have to tension this and this a little bit different. Anyway, it's just slightly different. It's two different ways of doing the same thing. Neither one is bad. Neither one is bad. There's different ways of doing it. It's a little bit like knitting. It's not bad, just different ways of knitting. So, anyway. All right, let me turn this up. Whew, that was a fun discussion. We talked about so many things, too. Yeah, so, don't forget about self-care. Where's my list? Your self-care, year of self-care for 2021. I hope that you're playing along. I hope that you've been posting photos and tagging us so that we know, because we are pulling a winner at the end of this month for your January special stash project, however you decided that it was special. Make sure that you've taken a picture of something that you're working on and you've posted it and you've tagged it with BSFE or Black Sheep Fiber Emporium, Year of Self-Care. Just, you gotta tag us somehow so that we can find it, so we know that you entered. And I don't care if all you've done is like make a swatch. It counts. Totally fine. Spinning counts, weaving counts, tatting counts, embroidery, quilting, sewing. As long as it's a needle art and you tag us so we can find it, it counts, because we're having a contest and you can enter it. There's still time, and every time you post you get another entry. So, you know, just spreading the word, and tell your friends. Tell your friends about Year of Self-Care. And I don't care if you're in Canada, you can still win, Cheryl. So you better post something and tell your friends about it, because we will totally ship a prize to Canada. Not a problem. Let's see. So February coming up, it's buying yourself a really special fiber, however you want to take that. So you can splurge on silk or kiviot. You could get some alpaca or silk. You can buy expensive fabric. You can invest in some metal thread or some silk thread for lace making. Whatever it is, we just want you to treat yourself to a really special to you fiber that month. So it doesn't matter if, you know, cotton is really special, if that's something that you like never buy yourself, or that you'd never work with because you think, you know, it's too fine or whatever. Okay, cotton counts. Totally fine. Or linen, whatever it is that's a special fiber for you. I mean, for me, like, silk is special, so, you know, I like getting silk stuff. But I actually ordered, fabric. I ordered fabric. It came early. It was supposed to be here in February, and it kind of already came this week, so I kind of opened it. But I have more fabric coming, which again I ordered, and it's not supposed to be here till February, so hopefully Monday when we're talking about sweaters, I can also open that, and it can be my February special thing. But yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I'm kind of excited. I haven't really been into sewing lately because I've been doing a ton of spinning, and Ina has been letting me knit, which is so exciting. So I've been working on a bunch of like knitting projects, and I've been doing some gauge swatches and a little tiny series, little 1-minute series about the different gauge swatches, which I need to stitch together into a bigger video and throw on YouTube for everybody. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. Anyway, and I need to get off of here because I have some other things to do. But, you know, I hope that you're all thinking about self-care and your year of self-care, and that you're making those posts and entering the contest and telling your friends about it, because we want to include everybody. And you can find out more about it at blacksheepfiberemporium.com. We have like a header and a logo, and we have like swag with the logo that you can check out. And let's see, and there's a whole web page. Like there's a whole page on our website that's devoted just to the year of self-care. So, you know, go check it out. Go tell your friends and go share it with them so that everybody can be involved, because it's a lot of fun. Tina has several kits up for the Bernie mittens if you've decided that you need to knit Bernie's mittens. Totally up to you. But she put the kits together and they're almost ready. She's working on the patterns, like a free pattern to go with them, that she'll send anybody who buys the kits. And then Friday she's going to be talking more about I think her Shetland shawl that she's been working on, the Bernie mitt kits. And I don't even know what else the woman's going to talk about, honestly. We've been talking about so many other things. Anyway, so yeah, get ready. February's almost here. We're going to move into another month. That means you're running out of time to get your entries in for the January contest. But don't worry, there will be a February contest as well. We're doing a monthly contest. So that's why I'm telling you, like, tell your friends, get out there, do some, like, fun self-care stuff. And until Monday, when I see you all again and we talk about gauge and sweaters, etc., please take care of yourselves. Stay happy, stay healthy as much as you can. You know, just take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. Keep crafting. Do your crafting stuff. I know it helps me a ton. And, you know, wash your hands, physically distance, wear your mask, stay safe. You know, please stay safe so that we can keep coming together and doing these fun crafty videos. That's my goal. Anyway, so I will see you all on Monday. Until then, keep crafting and put those pictures up so that I can see them. Remember to tag us. You gotta tag us so we can find you. If you need to, you can use the @BlackSheepFiberEmporium on Instagram and TikTok's @BlackSheepFiber. You can tag us on Facebook with @BlackSheepFiberEmporium, because we want to see what you're making. And, you know, use the hashtag BSFE if that was too much to worry about, so we can find you, so we can see what you've been doing. Because, you know, that's half the fun of this social media thing, is seeing what everybody else is making. So, all right, see you Monday.